Let me put it this way, that from a very literal point of view, the harbors and the ports and the railroads of the country, the economy, especially of the southern states, could not conceivably be what it has become if they had not had, and do not still have indeed, and for so long, so many generations, cheap labor. I am stating very seriously, and this is not an overstatement, that I picked the cotton, and I carried it to market, and I built the railroads under someone else's whip for nothing. For nothing. The Southern oligarchy, which has until today so much power in Washington, and therefore some power in the world, was created by my labor and my sweat, and the violation of my women and the murder of my children. This, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And no one can challenge that statement. It is a matter of historical record.
Hello, everyone out there. Welcome in Rhode Island. Welcome in Vermont. Welcome in Hawaii. Well, we say aloha in Hawaii. That's what we're supposed to say, from my understanding. And also everywhere else around the world. Welcome to the Progress Report. I am your host, Dion Sage, or, better known as Dion J. However you guys want to call me. Just don't call me late for dinner, okay? Because I'm never late for dinner. But with all that said, today we started off with a civil rights legend, and not just a civil rights legend in the African American community, but a civil rights legend also in the LGBTIQ plus community. James, and I'm going to say Mr. James Baldwin. Brother Baldwin wrote eloquently, thoughtfully, passionately on subjects of race in America in novels, essays, and plays. He's perhaps known for his books of essays, in particular notes of A Native Son in 1955, Nobody Knows My Name, 1961, and The Fire Next Time, 1963. And those of you who have not been paying attention, if you've seen the movie If Beale Street Can Talk, well, that was written by James Baldwin also. James Baldwin had to face many obstacles as he was coming up as a civil rights activist. His single most struggle was his former religion condemning his homosexuality, as did most society during that time. And it was one thing that he had to deal with, and many, myself included, dealing within the Black community as well as the Christian community, as well as in society. So it was difficult for Baldwin to accept himself. He wrote about the same issue in his book, Another Country. This book is mainly based only in New York. James Baldwin believed that we all have to live together and love each other, not as blacks and whites, but as human beings. Baldwin said, from my point of view, no label, no slogan, no party, no skin color, and indeed, no religion is more important than being a human being. With that said, today, to start off Black History Month, I salute Mr. James Baldwin for his many, many years of service, and we thank him, especially gay people of color. We thank him. Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. With all that said today, you already know I got some things I'm going to have to say real quick. And I just got one question. How, in the name of all that is good, that we allow for Representative Marjorie Greene to get pious? Man, oh man, how did we even allow this idiot to really get elected? And I'm going to say idiot because if you haven't looked at some of the things that she believes in, other than, I've heard this before, 9/11 was an inside hoax job. And now all of a sudden she's saying that she was saying that a few years ago before she got elected, that the Parkland shooting in Florida was a bunch of actors. But here was the final kicker for me. She legitimately said that Jewish lasers were the cause of wildfires. I mean, I want to say it out loud and yell it for a minute, but like literally, like, how are you even a U.S. representative when you really don't know how those wildfires started? When basic science can tell you how the wildfires started, it's because the world is the Earth is getting hotter because of the global warming, because we're taking all the natural resources, because of the fact that I don't know, President Trump took away precious money that we were going to need to keep our national parks surviving. Again, how did you become a U.S. representative? I'm going to keep asking that question. I'm probably going to ask my panel tonight, how do we let this one slip through the cracks? I'm definitely going to be asking Taylor so we can roast her a little bit. Yeah. And let me tell you something. When Mitch McConnell has to tell you to sit down, to tell you that you're ruining the Republican Party, I mean, they just got rid of one buffoon. Now they got you. Lord have mercy. Like seriously, when Mitch McConnell literally got to be like, first of all, what we need you to do is we need you to settle down in this entire proximity of the Republican Party. I don't know where you think you're going with this. Because this is the same guy. For 4 years he put up with Trump, but he damn sure is not putting up with a U.S. representative, someone in the House of Representatives. And you know what? I also hope that that we figure out some way to really get this person removed from office. Because yeah. With that said, we have a lovely show for you today. We have a lovely, lovely show for you today. We have a wonderful panel. We're going to be ending up our Rainbow Wave series. Rainbow Wave, like, that sounds like some type of ice cream that you'll find in the aisle at Friendly's, like the Friendly's little store, like sherbet Rainbow Wave. Like, it just, when you scoop it, you just get every single color of the rainbow, right? So while we scoop into our Rainbow Wave tonight, we're going to be bringing back all the way from Hawaii. Adrian Tam is here with us today. From Vermont, we have Taylor Small with us here today. Right here from Rhode Island, we have Counselor Alex Schutte with us here today. And also my good friend and community activist, author, the Empress, the Empress Supreme, Tina Kane is here today. And we're going to be talking to her. But before we do, let me bring in my good friend, my buddy, my pal, fellow host here at the Progress Channel, and kind of sort of like our part-time host here on the Progress Channel. Love him from the bottom of my heart, the one, the only, Mr. Taylor.
Well, hello there, everyone. What an
Hello,
amazing,
Taylor.
what an amazing introduction. I am like taken aback a little bit there, D. I didn't know you liked me so much.
I really don't, but I mean, just gotta make, do it for the fans one time for Vine, I guess. I don't know. Is Vine still a thing? I don't think it is, but definitely show engage with that one.
That went out with the 90s.
That went out with Vine was not around in the 90s. Don't try it. Don't you even try it today. Okay, it is Black. Listen, it is Black History Month. Let's not do this black on black crime today, Taylor. Okay.
We're not going to do it. We're going to save it for behind the scenes because I got a lot to say.
Huh?
I said we're going to save it for behind the scenes because I got a lot to say. Don't you worry.
Okay, no problem. Chris, make sure you're recording behind the scenes so we have physical evidence that he attacked me. Okay.
Allegedly.
Look what I see you're wearing your red dashiki.
Yeah. We were talking about, Black History Month and its importance. And believe it or not, folks, Dion called me to vent as well about what he was just talking to you all about. So I've heard this conversation. It was absolutely hilarious and terrifying at the same time.
You're talking about Marjorie Green?
Oh yes, I have to agree with you on most of the things you said there. I'm not gonna lie, but you called me to vent about that, and then we talked about Black History Month. So I figured it was only right to wear this, and I guess we were on the same page.
We were right. You're right. I know. Look at this. Hey, they gonna think we twins out here.
Oh boy. Let's not get carried away.
Okay. I mean,
But yes, I did hear your conversation, and I have to agree that I don't understand how we allow another person like this in office. I feel like we are all still coming to terms with our PTSD from Trump. So I am immediately triggered when I hear of someone being in office like this. Um, I am just going to say I'm remaining hopeful, and it is in.
Listen, you know what? The crazy thing is, I've always hear we always hear conspiracy theories, right? We always hear conspiracy theories, all the time, whether they be extreme right conspiracy theories or they be extreme left conspiracy theories. There's always some type of conspiracy theory out there.
Oh yeah.
But the entire conspiracy theory that Jewish lasers are coming from outer space to set the fire.
I actually hadn't heard that until you called me and said that.
Who's pressing the button? Bernie Sanders? All right, we're gonna burn here. We're gonna burn here. Like what's going on? What's going through her mind?
That's a really good question.
Oh,
I feel like the parties are to blame, to be honest. I really am hoping for a melding of parties at some point, or just doing away with parties at at some point we can find some alternative. Because the party thing just creates more problems than it does.
And you know what? You know what, Taylor? I agree with you on that, because what people have to realize, there are people that right now in this current time, people are not too cool with the Republican Party. People are not too cool with the Democrat Party right now. People are still on a little edge. We still have some Hillary PTSD going on, and a lot of people didn't want Joe Biden. So, hey, listen, I remember that meme. They said we asked for Bernie and Michelle, and we ended up getting Diet Bernie and Michelle, and it was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So a lot of people still didn't really want what the Democrat Party had, but do I think I think several other parties are going to start. You're going to start seeing several other parties starting to emerge. I do believe that you're going to get a real far left, a real far right. You're going to have your traditional Democrat and Republican, and then those of us like myself who are right there in the middle. I think you're gonna see a party form from that as well. So, and you know what? I've always been a pro multiple parties, pro more parties, because I think that gives people more options, better options, and different views, and we can hear different perspectives.
Absolutely, we don't hear too much about third party.
Yeah, but with that said, it is Black History Month, and I just wanted to just throw a few names out there. I talked about James Baldwin today, who was a queer activist. In the speech today, he talked about one of my favorite quotes is he said, "I'm going to say this," and he said, "I picked the cotton, I built the railroads." Right? Wait, so I picked the cotton, I took it down to the market, I built the railroads, and nobody can argue with that. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't talking, and I love when a lot of people, when I first watched this and back in college, some people say, well, he literally didn't pick the cotton. No, but he's figuratively talking about it and talking about that struggle of people still being viewed as second-class citizens within this country that have built this country, but through the hard work, labor, the strength of their back, the sweat of their brow. I know yesterday on Tea with Taylor, you talked a little bit about James Baldwin. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, James Baldwin is legendary, first of all, being the fact that he lived through so much and has told so much. And, the struggle, knowing firsthand the struggle of being Black and gay, that is not something small. And especially in the time period that he grew up in.
Right.
But he encouraged, he inspired, sorry, my new series, the just exploring the, I don't know how to word this other than the
Go ahead.
title.
Go ahead. Listen, I actually I
So
like it.
I'll give you the background. I'll give you the background. So he did inspire me through one of his bodies of
I'm
work.
making Ken Gelman pull his hair out with the topics I have, but this time it was you. I was listen. It was
This
easy.
time it was
You
me.
said easy for me to send my Black History stuff. So I'll tell you that much.
This time it was me. You're right. But it was inspired by James Baldwin and in one of his famous sayings, saying, "I am not your Negro." So it inspired my new series, the Negro Experience, and it going into more in depth of speaking about what you were just saying, about the Black and gay experience, and even going into certain policies that are targeted towards those kinds of people. But on the flip positive side, we're going to talk about legends and icons just like James Baldwin, just like him, that brought this whole conversation up to begin with.
Well, another, other Black icons, and I want to stick around during the Harlem Renaissance period because that's when, especially during the Harlem Renaissance period, there were a lot of LGBTQ Black activists, writers, poets, business leaders. Zora Neale Hurston, prominent writer, was bisexual. Ma Rainey, who was known as the mother of blues, was a well-known was unapologetic about it during her time. You're talking about 1930s, unapologetic about being gay. Would walk holding her girlfriend's hand, kiss her girlfriend in public, and all of that. And I have and I watch. I want to thank people like actresses like Viola Davis for bringing people like Ma Rainey to light because I don't think enough people know about Ma Rainey. Bessie Smith, who was taught about the blues and how to sway and get her own talent with the blues. Bessie Smith was she, even though she was in the closet, but she was bisexual. And one of my favorite poets of all time, Langston Hughes, was also gay. And I was. It was funny because when we were joking around earlier today, I kept reciting "Theme for English B" by Langston Hughes, which is by far one of my favorite poems ever by him.
It took me a second to think about it. I was like, "Yep."
Yep. And when we sit here and when we talk about being Black and being gay, and that's not part. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this with you, Taylor, because that's going to be when we come back from break. We're going to be talking a little bit about being Black and queer. For you, being a Black gay man, and I want to we'll end it right here because we gotta get to our panel and talk to our panel today and all that great stuff. But you being Black and queer, do you see a difference between Black and being a gay man in society?
Absolutely, for sure. There are a lot of things that meld together with those struggles, but they also have their separate struggles, and I would be a fool to not acknowledge that, especially seeing it firsthand, like you said. But another thing quickly is just we're diving into that Black History Month, but there are just certain things I think that we still have yet to face, especially being younger. Speaking on us, there are still things that we have yet to face, and I think that we are taking things with strides better than we have ever.
Right. It was crazy. I was asked the same question. I was asked the same question by a white drag queen a few years back. Why do you always put being Black over being gay? And I said, well, for me personally, I said, and people are gonna get mad that I said this. A lot of people can get mad that I make this statement, but this is how I feel. I can't put being Black in the closet. When I wake up every single day, I'm reminded that I'm Black. But however, if I choose to, I'm not saying do it. If I choose to, I can put my gayness in a closet or hide it behind this masculine persona or what I think society wants me to be. I can't hide being Black. As much as I try, I can sit there and try to put, you could, listen, I could bleach my skin like a Michael Jackson and a Sammy Sosa. People are still going to be able to tell that I'm a Black man, period.
Please don't.
I could change my or whatever. But But yeah, so with that said, we have to go. We have to take our first commercial break. I feel like every time we get good into the conversation, we gotta go.
I know. I'm so sad. I was like, well, I'm ready to meet the panelists though.
I'm ready to meet the panelists because they're gonna have some good things for us. Some good things. They're gonna probably come in like fire, but like first of all, let's talk about Marjorie. No, I don't know. But until so we'll be right back after these messages. Okay, guys, go get yourself a cup of tea.
On the next Full Spin, we're celebrating the remarkable career of Whitney Houston with a special Legacy edition. Join us on Tuesday, February 9 at 9 p.m. Eastern. Hosted by Magenta with a J and featuring from RuPaul's Drag Race, Jujubee, The Vixen, Dita Ritz, Mystique Summers, Tenderoni, Lucy Stool, Neon Calypso, Kira Stone, Peyton St. James, Erica Chanel, Kaya Cristal, Just JP, DeCameron May, Blue. We'll also be donating 10% of tips to support the Chicago Black Drag Council Mutual Aid Fund. So join us for a drag celebration of the incredible Whitney Houston on Tuesday, February 9th on Magenta with a J's Twitch channel.
Bring me a higher
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Progress Report. I'm your host, Dion Sage. We have a wonderful panel before us tonight. But before we get to the panel, I've been very vocal in my support for Senator Tiara Mack, and I've always said I would have Senator Tiara Mack back. This just in, former gubernatorial candidate Ken Block, who failed miserably both times, is questioning the validity of Tiara Mack's running as senator in the state of Rhode Island. And I just want to say to you, Ken Block, because I know you're a friend of my Facebook page, and I have no problem tagging you in this. Ken Block, last time I checked, that in order for you to run, you have to have at least 6 months residency within a neighborhood. And Tiara Mack not only has lived in the neighborhood, lived in Rhode Island, lived in Providence more than 6 months, she was here since she went to school at Brown University because she had the opportunity. So before you sit here and go off the cuff and run your mouth off, I suggest you do your homework and get your facts straight. Because the fact of the matter about it is you are a failed businessman, a failed politician, and you failed with the moderate party. So you are just one big failure and upset that Tiara Mack is succeeding. With all that said, I would like to bring my panelists right on. I would like to welcome Taylor Small. I would like to welcome Tina Kane. I would like to welcome Adrian Tam. I would like to welcome Alexis Schutte. And of course, helping me moderate this good conversation is my good friend Taylor Neptune. How's everyone doing out there?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yes. I'm sorry I had to get a little hot on that right real quick. I just understand, like people are still fighting the valid people. Like everything checked out. People have to check on this stuff before they even run, and it doesn't make any sense. So what if she used her different driver's license? And that just came in across our desk, and I just want to, as Tina and Taylor knows, I told Senator Mack, I have your back, and I mean that.
As you should. I don't understand how her using a different license, if that is the case, like justifies them questioning her validity in this rape.
Right. Right.
And it happens anytime a man loses to a woman. Every single time they question the validity, they question her sexuality, they question the way she looks, the way she dresses, they question how she got to the place that she is, because a woman just couldn't do that on her own merits, could she now?
No. I mean, look what they're saying about Madam Vice President Harris. You know, that she slept her way to the top. Why did she have to slip her way? She was a brilliant attorney. She's a brilliant attorney. She's a brilliant woman. She's a brilliant human being. Why couldn't she work hard like everyone else, like you or I? Why can't that ever be the case?
Yep, you got misogyny alive and well. You got anti-Semitism alive and well and back in the forefront. You got racism always there. And now it's like we can't get through a single day news cycle without another new horror coming to the fore. And I just think, especially those 3 women that are now serving in the state house that are constantly under fire, like, they know that I got their back too, but it needs to stop. It's absolutely ludicrous.
They had it with Dean Valicente right before they got sworn in, and now they got to deal with it. They got to deal with failed businessman, failed gubernatorial candidate, failed moderate party leader, failed. I mean, he lost to Cheney, for God's sake.
And this is just on the local forefront. And can you imagine what actually has happened in a larger scale, and that speaks to the state of the country and the state of our well-being right now? We're just speaking on a local scale.
Right.
A lot of those people, we know that they're losers. I mean, look at the Confederate flags that they fly out there. We know that they like losers.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what those flags actually say. Like, they should actually just say, I am a loser. Okay, we get it. Wonderful. I wanted to get Taylor in on this. Taylor Small, I'm sorry.
So many Taylors this evening.
Senator Small on this. How, when you hear something like this from like constant attacking on state legislation, new people coming in, how does this make you feel being a first-time legislator?
Well, I think it goes back to the statement that you said before as to what comes first for you. Is it being Black or is it being gay? And I would say that Tiara being assaulted in this way by folks in the political sphere is because of her race. We saw this for 8 years with Barack Obama and the whole birther myth, the lie that was constructed. And so, of course, they're going to replicate the same narrative as they do against queer people and as they will continue to do against Black folks in our community. And so I think Tiara is an amazing leader. I had a wonderful opportunity of serving on a panel with her, and her excellence, it just exceeds the bounds of Rhode Island. And so y'all are lucky to have her, and I'm all the way in Vermont fighting for her as well.
Representative Tam, I'm going to ask you the same question. With you being a new state legislator and also the only openly gay legislator of Hawaii, how do you see this? How does this make you feel when you hear constant attacks on junior representatives that are trying to make a difference?
You know, can you hear me? Yeah. So, you know, it offends me, but it doesn't surprise me. We always see this. I myself included have seen the constant attacks based on like my qualifications. For me, it has always been my age. People always assume that I'm younger, so I don't know much, etc. But I am really fortunate that in Hawaii we have a very diverse populace that is very accepting and very open. So even though I am the only, I don't think that's going to last for long. I think that more and more are going to join me in this chamber here. Our majority leader is in fact a woman of color, but it's not a Democratic Party problem. I'm going to be quite honest with you. It's a Republican problem. So in the House of Representatives in Hawaii, we have 4 Republicans. out of 51 members. 2 are women and 2 are men. And they still haven't organized and settled on a majority leader yet because it's split by their gender. The women don't necessarily want the two other men being the minority leader. And I can say this because it's public, but it has been told to a lot of people that one of the men, in his pitch to being minority leaders, the Republican minority leader, said that he should be minority leader because the other 2 women have children. And, you know.
Well then.
It's not I mean, I guess it is a problem in both parties, but it's that kind of level in the Republican Party. And to the state representative, Tiara Mack, know that you have support in Hawaii too.
Nice. Hold on, that Representative Tim, you just threw me off that about the whole baby thing. Like, what year is 1950? Women can't work because they have babies or something? Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just mind-boggling, and you know, it doesn't surprise me that this one representative said this because, in the past, he said a lot of other things too. I've heard stories from other former Republican and current Republican members that have said that he's often said offensive things regarding race, gender, and sexual orientation in their caucus. So I don't know why people keep electing him. He's also someone that compared marriage equality to 9/11.
Oh.
This was back in 2013.
You know what? I'm out, guys. See you guys later. I'm gonna go on vacation. See everybody later.
That's never happened. Never. Dion never done that. That's great. You really blew the time with that one.
I mean, seriously. I mean, right here in Rhode Island, I mean, we still have a city council person in Providence that misgendered someone, but not only that, told a police detective, and he still hasn't apologized for this. Michael Correa, I know you're watching, I know you're listening. You still haven't apologized or said anything about the fact that you told a police officer to inflict pain on a person for graffiti. Someone who was arrested for graffiti. Who you said to the detective, and I quote, "Why don't you break his fingers?" Something like that.
Ooh.
That's a rolling tonight, G. You are on a roll.
Still a council person. So I mean, I know there's like so many different things we could talk like with that, but there's some other things that I wanted to go over. I wanted to get everybody's opinion on this one. So Ted Cruz retweeted the statement and said, "I fully agree with AOC." And basically, AOC's comment was, "This is unacceptable. We now need to know more about the Robinhood Act's decision to block retail investors from purchasing stock while hedge funds were freely able to trade the stock as they see fit. As a member of the Financial Services Committee, I support a hearing if necessary." Ted Cruz said, "I fully agree," and AOC clapped back with this. "I am happy to work with Republicans on this issue where there's common ground. But you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out. Happy to work with almost any other GOP that aren't trying to get me killed. In the meantime, you want to help, you can resign." I'm gonna start with this one. Tina.
Oh my gosh, you have like the mama bear in me just like bristling and just ready to pounce. How dare he come in there when she has eloquently stated what she had to say about the whole thing, and he had to come there and just like walk all over her and whitewash it and say, yeah, what she said. after he pulled all that nonsense like a couple weeks ago and join in and try to overthrow this government, now he wants to step in and think he's got his big boy pants on? Get out of here with that noise. I don't think so. She handled it eloquently, a lot better than I think I would have. I usually have to start like a tweet and then delete it like 50 times, and like Ken has said before, and then decide, no, I can't really say anything because it's just going to start a war. It's just ludicrous. And then for them to come back and say, oh, she brought her PTSD into this. How dare she weaponize her trauma and her attack?
I'm sorry. I saw Speaker of the House, Speaker Pelosi, when she was walking out the Capitol building at the inauguration. She was like she was still fearful for her life at that moment. Seriously. And even during that day, of the siege of the Capitol, she was standing up there just in one spot, and it looked as though Speaker Pelosi was terrified in that moment. And I can only imagine. We're gonna go over next to Alexis. How do you feel about AOC's clapback at Ted Cruz?
I mean, queen of clapbacks, right? Like, I will never leave Twitter as long as she's on there, just because I need to see it in real time. But I mean, it also reminds me of all of these legislators that are like riding hot coattails when the moment is hot, and just no shame, absolutely no. It's completely thoughtless, completely inappropriate to try to like bridge common ground on an issue like this, and also bring her into a position where she has to even interact with you. Like, stop. It reminds me of Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, right? Like, who? Like, he's got the coiffed hair and he looks like straight out of a Republican playbook manual. But he came to Katie Hill's defense out in California after everything with that, like, revenge porn situation happened. I don't know if y'all caught that story. And he was like, I stand with Katie Hill. And I'm like, sir, you don't stand, like, you don't stand for anything right now. Like, you are leading this insurrection. You are leading these people. And you can't just conveniently come to the table and say, well, on this thing, we agree, but on everything else, we're going to create an active environment where you are in harm's way. And this is the only time that I think I've ever been grateful for the fact that Gen Z youth, like, and millennials that are working at the Capitol have gone through active shooter drills so that they have this, like, knowledge to protect these folks, because without them, Pelosi even said she would have been frozen. She wouldn't have known what to do. And these kids, like these interns, these staff members, kept it all in the clear. And, like, thank goodness they did. But the fact that these representatives are even still allowed to have their seat is absolutely bonkers to me. I don't understand it.
Tam?
Yes, I also agree. Here in the state capitol, for those of you who don't know my story about getting in here, I ran against a Proud Boy, and I know what it's like to kind of, well, not on the level of AOC, but to kind of be fearful. So after the Capitol riots, we all went on lockdown. A lot of us were put on high alert, especially ones that had taken on the Republican Party. And some of our Republican colleagues was trying to, water it down as if it's nothing and try to play nice and whatnot. But here's the thing. I completely agree with AOC. If you tried to call for my execution, I'm just going to say it, fuck off. Can I say that online?
Yeah, you sure can.
Why? You don't get to pick
That's
and
the
choose.
word of the day, by the way, Representative Tan. Fuck off. That is the word of the day.
Yeah,
Ding, 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 ding. No, it's not. Sorry. I know the first G's out there. Faster. Sorry.
But yeah, I screw you. You don't get to pick and choose, like, what side you want to be on when it's convenient for you. as we can disagree on issues such as tax policy or you know, healthcare regulations or whatever. But when it comes to human decency, no. That's where we draw the line.
I mean, I agree with you. And I'm gonna give, I think everybody's heard my opinion on this, but go ahead, Taylor. Representative Small. Sorry, Senator Small. Sorry.
Oh no, Representative, you had it right on. If you are going to give me that promotion, I'm happy to have it. Thank you, Dion.
Take it, all right. U.S. Senator. No, I'm joking.
Honestly, what this makes me think of is I hope all of you watch AOC's live streams. They are one of my favorite pastimes, especially when she does her cooking live streams where she like zests a lemon for 5 minutes and I never really see something come to fruition. But all to say, she the other night was talking about leaving the Capitol and how every day when she leaves the Capitol, she removes her congressional pin because she is so scared about the reaction of those who are outdoors. When she removes her pin, she can be perceived as an intern or an aide or someone else in the State House and not necessarily herself, which makes me think of what we are reckoning with here in Vermont. Though it is a safe haven in every apocalypse movie, this is where you go to, find safety at the end of the day. We are also struggling with the horrendous horrors that are white supremacy. And knowing that we have had multiple Black women be elected to office and yet had to step down from their positions because of these same threats to their safety that we are hearing about in the Capitol.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but yesterday, because what you're talking about, we were talking, Taylor and I were on the phone yesterday, and we were talking about Shirley Chisholm and what she went through in 1972 when she ran for president of the United States. She had death threats, and all that. And I just don't think it's fair to women, period, that you get death threats, you get labeled as someone had to help you up in order for you to get up, climb up that ladder, period. And I don't think it's fair to any person who is representing our country. And I think Mitt Romney said it best when he talked about the insurrection. His 25 grandchildren, and he's a Republican who has supported a lot of Republican legislation, even when it came from Donald Trump, stood there and said, my 25 grandchildren called me to make sure their grandfather was okay. This is not all right. This is not normal. It's not. You all legislating for our country should not, for whether it be at the local level, in the municipality or the state, or in the federal government, wherever it is, you should feel protected. I believe you should feel honored and have that, and people should give you that respect, even if I disagree with you. Like, I disagree with Senator Cruz, period. But at the same time, if he was on the show, I would call him Senator Cruz to give him that respect. I mean, there's other names I would love to call him, but if he was on my show, I would call him Senator Cruz to give him that respect. Listen, at the end of the day, here's how I look at it. Listen, I come from South Providence. You can take the boy out the hood, but you can't take the boy out the hood. Okay, you can't take the boy. Okay?
I'm not quite sure that's how that goes, Dion.
Listen, we do. This is how I say. If you buck at me, okay, you better be dang sure I ain't helping you when someone else bucks at you. Simple as that. With that said, there's some other questions I want to get to today. Definitely want to get to today. So we've been talking about the rainbow wave, and each one of you, and I want to thank you guys all for coming in and on the panel for the rainbow wave. In a way, with minus Tina, are part of that rainbow wave. The three of you are part of that rainbow wave. Although Tina, let me say this, Tina, you still are the Empress Supreme. Okay.
We love the Empress Supreme.
We love the Empress Supreme. How does it feel to be in that number that uplifts LGBTQ people? And I want to start with you, Representative Small.
Again, bringing it right back to Vermont, it's amazing to see the rainbow wave nationally, But in being a first, it's usually being alone. It's being by yourself in this mix. So to be able to come into the Vermont State House with our own rainbow wave, here in Vermont, we actually doubled our LGBTQ representation in the State House this year alone. We went from having 6 members in the House and Senate to 13 overall. And these are just out LGBTQ folks in the State House. And so that means that I have a family to come home to. I have a family that is there to protect and honor me and know that I am able to do this work without having to fear as much of that pushback from others in the legislature. So being in a Rainbow Wave means that that I actually get to see all of those dreams come to fruition and know that there is so much work that can be done when we have the right folks and the right representation in those seats.
We're going to go with you, Representative Tan.
What was the question again?
The question is, how does it feel to be part of this rainbow wave that's sweeping the nation? And
Okay, yeah, it feels fantastic. Today we confirmed our first openly gay transportation secretary, our highest, government official, Pete Buttigieg.
Hey!
I almost always devour his name.
When
Pete
someone says
anymore is
just his name, I
secretary.
get excited. I don't know why.
And we continue to make a lot of strides. And one thing is for sure, we have more LGBTQ plus members in government now than QAnon's conspirators, which is because I think there's only 2 still. I wish it was 0. And it feels fantastic. It feels great. It feels like, we made a lot of progress. When I was a kid, I don't know anyone in government that looked like me or on TV that looked like me. But, and I'm sure everyone else on this call can relate, we gave, I feel like we gave a lot of hope to a kid out there who is struggling to accept who they are and get them closer to finally accepting who they are and being happy about it.
Nice. Alexis, Councilor Schutte.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have the perspective of someone that is working at the municipal level, and we were joking a little bit earlier about how city governing is unique. We're working literally on the ground with things like snow removal, trash and waste solutions. We're talking, people call me about the rat issues because restaurants are closed. So rats come into residential areas and run amok and nest. And so I'm not gonna lie about it. I became friends with a lot of folks who identify as independents and Republicans in my neighborhood who are just like, I don't care if you're a deer in R. Are you going to take care of the rat problem? Like, what's your idea? And I'm like, I'm definitely a progressive Democrat. And then they'd be like, okay. And I said, but here are my ideas for taking care of the rat issues. We should compost. We should have, things where we're actually removing organic waste from the system. And then they showed up and they voted for me. I saw them at the polling stations. I saw Republicans coming out on general election day saying, like, I met her. She has great ideas. And I told my friends. And, these aren't the QAnon people. These aren't conspiracy theorists. They're just concerned residents that want their city councilor to embody a good neighbor. And so, I'll be that good queer neighbor that's coming to help you shovel your walk or get some help for a delivery of medication, whatever the case might be. That is my goal over the next 2 years, to engage the community and let them know I can be a resource. And I hope, especially at the local level, it empowers folks, especially young queer folks, to consider working at the municipal level as a gateway or a path where they can learn about governing, learn about how to enact legislation, about how to work with city officials in this way, because you can learn a lot at the city level without having to really put yourself out in the bigger state or federal positions. And you can both inspire people and show that you are a valuable asset to this community, period, point blank, done, no matter who you are, no matter who you love, etc.
Well said, Alexis.
So outside of so I have Taylor and Tina. You guys are not elected officials. How does it make you to see more people who are from our community that are looking like us, that have gone through the same struggles, now to be elected representative, that could be making decisions on our lives? I'll start with you, Tina.
Well, it's finally starting to look like representation. I mean, it's important that we see people who look like us and who have the same values of us in government. And I think that that will definitely draw more of us out there who are willing to take up reins and join our local government. We've got Kamala Harris as a great example right there in the vice presidency seat. But we all know that it's real change that takes place on the local level. And so that we can see this rainbow wave that's going on in our neighbors. I mean, we've got our own people who live down the street who are running for offices and who are holding offices and winning. And we know that they're going to have our best interests at heart when they go in there and make these decisions for our communities. It's heartwarming, and it's wonderful to know that we can get more people in there. We've got Pete Buttigieg that's in there now, and let's get some more people in there. Let's get some of our trans siblings in there. Let's get some of our lesbians in there. Let's get more people of color, people who look like us in that intersectionality, who can go in there and represent what this country really looks like. I don't think that our country is made up of 99% old white men. At least I would hope not.
How do you feel about seeing this wave happen across our nation?
I'm not gonna touch that, Tina, but I hear you. But just like you said, though, representation absolutely 100% matters. That's something I've always said. And just speaking on a little bit more on Black history, since that's what we're speaking on this month, even our few great speakers that we've had in Black history, like Malcolm X and James Baldwin, to mention him again, has spoken about our failed government. And they've spoken on it with such conviction and such relevance that it still holds to this day, which is the frightening part. We've had so much misinformation with politicians on their values. And, we are now seeing a lot of this progressive wave happening, the rainbow wave, and I am grateful and I'm so happy to be a part of it. But again, with the Pete Buttigieg thing too, as well, we did have recently an openly gay Black man being elected to the U.S. Congress. I'm so grateful for it all. But I just think that we still have this failed government behind us, and we, as a people, like you all are saying, I think we can do a little more to get involved on whatever level it is that we feel comfortable. Because we are the ones that know our values, and we are the ones that are coming with these concerns. So I think that we are the ones that need to start solving them.
Very nice, very nice. So, panelists, I know we would want to spend like a whole lot of time. We could keep going on and on and on talking about this stuff here. And I looked at the time and I'm like, no, I don't want to wind it down. This should have been a 2-hour special. Oh my goodness. But I do hope to have each one of you guys back as we continue to grow here with the Progress, at the Progress channel and the Progress Report. Again, thank you so much, Taylor Small. Listen, I'm still holding you up to your invitation. Representative Tam, when I finally make it out there to Honolulu, I'm definitely going to give you a call. And Alexis, listen, you have no excuse on not that, hit a brother up. But Tina, as always. But with that said, we're going to come back in just a moment with our final thoughts. And we are back. Oh man, this was actually a really good show. I don't want it to end, but unfortunately, all good things must come to an end at some point. Just like the presidency of Obama. Maybe come back. Any kind of good.
You know what that does to me. Come on, stop it.
But with that said, instead of me trying to bore you guys and deafen you guys with my singing, let's have some final thoughts. And I'm gonna start with my good friend Taylor first, actually, and then I'll just do. If you guys want to do popcorn style, just go ahead. Or do you guys want me to call you out and say, okay, this is less about?
You're the host, Dion. Tell us.
All right.
Out.
I'll call you guys out. All right, Taylor Neptune, go. 60 seconds.
Okay. Well, again, I'm really glad that we had this conversation. It's been really great. I really enjoyed talking to all of you, getting your points of views. I am just going to leave us all with my final thought being looking forward to the progressive wave and all that means for us as a whole, as a people, and looking forward to individuals who may step forward to help us with that agenda.
Okay. We're gonna go with let's get the guys out the way first. We're gonna go with Representative Tan.
Thank you so much for inviting me on here again. It's always good to see other lawmakers across the country, and it's always good to see the good people at Progress Report. My final thoughts is this: I am very hopeful for the years to come. The Democrats have the House majority, the Senate majority, and the presidency, so expect some really progressive items. We're tackling our coronavirus. Finally, we have a president that believes in science. And, you know, if you or, you believe, if you or anyone you believe in that should be running for public office, if you guys ever want to run for public office, my advice to you is, do it. It's a lot of hard work, but it's very rewarding. And if you are going to do it, be yourself. Authenticity resonates a lot. And, no one's going to elect a fraud. I cannot stress that, no one's going to elect a fraud. We did 4 years ago, and look how that turned out.
Right.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Tan. Councilor Schutte.
All right. First, I want to invoke the memory of another city official who's no longer with us, Harvey Milk, and say to anyone who's planning on running, Dion said earlier, we can't hide what people see when we walk down the street, but we can choose to hide who we are. And the only way we're going to move forward is if we come out and keep coming out and come out and come out and do it as much as we can and take that risk and show people that we can do it and we can lead. And then just in honor of Black History Month, I have to do this. I have to honor the queen, the EST of WWE, Miss Bianca Belair, who won the Royal Rumble last night, the first Black athlete in 20 years to do it since The Rock. And Bianca, this one's for you because you did it. You worked, you did it. No one deserves it more than you. Bianca Belair, forever.
So I'm a wrestling fan, y'all. So yeah, I had to stand for that one. Sorry about that. Tina Kane.
It's such an honor to be on this panel with all of you. I think that you're all amazing, and I can't wait to see what we can all do in the future. In honor of Black History Month, I'd like to do a shout out to one of my role models as an author, as a writer, as a poet, the incomparable Maya Angelou. And her quote, if you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, change your attitude. And I think that's something that we all live by, especially those of us doing this Rainbow Wave and who will continue to hold up the challenge to living our authenticity, on living our truths, and not being afraid to bring that up higher to government, to law, to change in this country and into this world. And I hope that we can all work together to make this much better for the next generation.
Nice. Okay. So Representative Small.
Dion, it is always a pleasure being on here with you, and really wonderful meeting all of the panelists this evening. Representative Adrienne Tam, I've been following you for a bit now, so great to finally meet. And Dion, thanks for introducing us. I'll just say,
we're the political connection over here at the Progress Channel. No.
I know, I can't wait until we're all together physically. This is going to be amazing. And just building on what Tina said, that we are the change. We are here. We are doing it every day. Every day is a choice that we are making to engage in this system that has been set up against us for years and years. And I think what is most resounding for me, and a really amazing anecdote I want to share, is that I didn't know that I was going to be running for this position even 6 months ago. And to know that I have run and won, and now am helping a young trans city council candidate run in my great city, this is it, y'all. I did not think it would happen so fast, but I'm so grateful to be in the presence of these change makers, and knowing that if this is what we can do in 1 year, just think what we can do in 4 more.
Nice. Thank you so much. So let me just say this. Let me thank all of my panelists today. Let me thank Representative Tan. Let me thank Councilor Schutte, Representative Small, of course, the Empress Supreme, Tina Kane, my good friend, Mr. Taylor Neptune. And of course, you guys know I always have some type of final thought to say. James Baldwin said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced." We have a long, hard road ahead of us. Like I said last week, we still have work to do. There's still work to do at the municipal level, our state level. There's still work to do in our education system. There's still work to do in housing. There's still work to do to lessen discrimination and to quiet the hate crimes. As we continue to do this work, I ask everyone to be ready to face the challenges, face the changes that we want to see, and be willing to stand firm in what you believe. Stand firm in your faith, stand firm in your love, and always remember that we are our siblings' keeper. With all that said, this has been the Progress Report. Shout out to everyone out there in Vermont that's watching. And shout out, aloha to everyone out there in Hawaii that is watching as well. City Pawtucket, we love you, except for the one ways. But other than that, until next time, everyone, we will see you guys. Peace.
Thank you.